Welcome. And I'm here, Ayse Hogan, visionary and strategist. So, I don't even know who I am from founder of IAUSM. I get so excited of IAUSM, which is the International Academy of Universal Self-Mastery. And we're getting ready for our launch July 10th and 11th, which is a free 2-day webinar series with 30 speakers. And it's live and it's interactive and it's great. I'm so excited. And today I have one of the speakers and one of our amazing faculty members with us. And I'd like to introduce you to Jules Hare. And she's joining us from New Brunswick, Ontario. So Jules.
Wait a second. New Brunswick isn't in Ontario, Ayse.
Oh my God, can you tell that I work like way too many hours? So my a friend of mine is here. She's helping me with some stuff and she's like on the couch, doubled over laughing at me right now. So, okay.
Lost in that one.
So I just want to tell you that this is the fun that we're going to be having. And you guys can laugh at me all you want. I'm okay with that. So it's the best part. So yeah, so Jules, you're a parent, a therapist, an enthusiast, a playful character. Let's talk about what that means today. I'm the playful character apparently. And you also do sacral cranial, right?
Cranial sacral, yes.
Cranial sacral for children. And so, sorry, you know what? Today is hilarious. My dog walker is trying to grab Jasper, my dog.
When it rains, it pours.
When it rains, it pours. So in a moment, we're going to hear a lot of barking. So I'm just going to say, Joy.
Yes.
Can you let him out the side door when she gets here? Okay. So, all right. So let's talk about what you do and what we're going to be talking about at the launch. And just warning everyone, soon my dog is going to explode when he realizes the dog walker is coming. So it's cute, but your ears are going to explode.
It's about to rain.
Yeah, it's about to rain barking. So just letting you know. So tell us a little bit about what you do and how you help children, which I think is fantastic, how that helps parents. And not giving away everything that you'll be talking about at the launch party, but just giving us a taste of what people can look forward to there.
Awesome. Well, I'll try not to give it all away, but you know how authenticity can be. So my name is Jules Hare, as Ayse said, and I'm a cranial sacral therapist. I've specialized in cranial sacral since I was 10 years old, because I've been doing this since I was a kid. My mom was a physiotherapist, and she took the courses from Dr. John Upledger in the States. She would come home and teach them to me, and I would help her in her clinic. And so it's become natural to me. So as I've grown up, I wasn't sure whether I wanted adults or whether or animals. Perfect timing of dogs. And so what I decided that I would give.
Just give me 1 second. You can just open the door, Joy.
That's a lot of love. She's here.
A lot of love. He loves her so much, like it's ridiculous.
I can imagine him right now just going.
Oh my God, I can't believe this is happening like right now in the middle of this. It's hilarious. So do tell me. He's going outside now. This is good. Okay, so let's start that again. So your mom taught you a bunch of stuff.
Yes. And so what's happened since is obviously I've gotten older and I've started my own practice. Now I have 30 years of experience working with people of all ages, not just animals, not just kids, but all ages. And more importantly, bringing more attention to the inner child within us. So whether we're 90 years old or 5 years old, there's a part of us that is speaking up, and it's usually from the past. And a lot of our memories, as you know, come from when we're kids.
Yes.
Yes.
And it's so important. It's so important. Like, I've been working lately with some of my own clients, and they've been very curious about their children. And I've been going through like the DNA
Yes.
and getting their genetic coding so that I can help the parents. I'm not going to say raise their children properly, but raise their children properly. So meaning like according to their best way of learning, right? And because, you know, we just tend to do what our parents did. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's the right thing.
As we know.
Yeah, because like I'm a manifester, right? So everything my parents did with me being a manifester was completely wrong, but they didn't do it on purpose. They just didn't know, right? So they didn't know. And had they known, they probably would have made some adjustments.
Yes.
Right. So because instead I fell into exactly what happens to a manifestor child if you try to put them in a box. Right. So this is exactly what I went into, that rebellious, passive aggressive place. Right. So that's what happens. So, you know, there's ways of raising different children.
Exactly. And I think that is the book that I recently wrote. It's called Raise Future Leaders, 3 Simple Steps to Transformational Parenting. And it's not rocket science. More than anything, just like everything that we found to be most profound, it is simple in its essence. And that is stopping and recognizing in your own patterns and behaviors as a parent, whether you're parenting a child or parenting your inner child, where are you? Are you fretting about the future? Are you reliving the past? Are you actually present? And then once you're present and you've stopped, then looking at this child in front of you or this child inside of you, and what is it that you really see? And the power and potency of being able to be present and actually look without judgment or expectation to your inner child or to the child who is looking for your attention, because your kids are always looking for your attention, and actually being there to see them for who they are is profound. And then you add in the listening to actually what they're saying versus what you want them to say or what you think they're saying. And you've got a huge, huge wealth of information that we don't even realize we're not accessing by being in our own heads and not being present to fully honor our kids.
Absolutely. I'm bringing our own fears to the table, raising children based on our fears, like, putting our fears and our worries on them.
Yes. And our own programming.
Which is so unfair. I don't think we do it on purpose, but we think we're doing it out of love, but it's not okay because we're not allowing them to experience themselves. And I guess for some reason, it's the conditioning through time that, if it's a child, it needs to be completely every single moment of its life has to be guided. And, they're more open than we are. So it's allowing them to really experience life. I spoke to someone yesterday and their daughter, young child, very young, is what's called I've been bringing this into my practice for a little bit of time now, and it's called a reflector. So it's a type of child, and 1% of the world is a reflector. And basically they need a whole lunar cycle before they can make a decision. Right. Yeah. So it's about allowing them time and not pressuring them so that they can get proper clarity on the decisions that they want to make in their lives. Right. So it was just like, it's so different, but to know that is gold. Right. So because when I started talking to her about what she could see in her child, what she could expect from her child, she was like, oh my God, she does this kind of stuff already. Yes, she does this. Yes. Oh my gosh. Right. So but she was trying to raise her the same as her son. And they're different.
Very different. Yeah. And that is something that is so powerful. And you mentioned it already, Ayse, our own discomforts, our own fears, our own projected insecurities or expectations are so readily available to our kids. It's like they take them on as their own, unless we are able to fully take responsibility for them. and look at them as our own, not our kids.
Right. It's true. Like simple things like you don't think about it because you think you're helping, right? So you make the decisions for your child, right? And well, what are you teaching them? Well, number one, you're helping, you think you're helping, but number two, you're teaching them that they can't make a decision. They need to be codependent upon someone else to make their decision. They have no faith in their own decision. That's the message that they're getting, that they can't make that decision. Somebody has to make it for them. Right. And it sounds so, it's not your intention. Your intention is to help and to guide them. But what you're doing is putting a belief in their head that they can't make a choice by themselves, that they can't find the answer on their own.
But they don't have
it's not okay for, and to be afraid for them to make a mistake.
Yes,
how do we learn?
Comfortable. It makes us really uncomfortable to make a mistake. So we don't want them to have that discomfort. So we have
to let them. We have to let them, as long as they're safe and they're not hurting anyone else, they should be allowed to make a mistake. They should be encouraged to make a mistake. I mean, that's how they learn.
Well, and you've heard probably of the helicopter parents, right? They're always watching and hovering over their kids like helicopters. A friend of mine the other day told me about lawnmower parents, which is the most recent, is that the parent is in front of the child with the lawnmower, mowing down everything in the path so that the child just has to follow the adult and everything will be looked after.
And not good.
No, it's not good. And we don't realize what a detriment we're doing, or disservice we're doing to this next generation by taking away all of their potential to build resiliency, by getting rid of everything, because it makes us feel more comfortable to know that they're safe.
What do birds do? Birds take their chicks and throw them out of the nest. Fly. Right? Like, it sounds awful, but they do it. Like the animal kingdom got it down. I'm not saying throw your kid out as a child, but when that child is ready, which is different for every species, they know when to say, okay, it's time. Right? Yeah. We have boomerang parents, right? How is a child ever going to grow up and be responsible for themselves if you keep letting them back home?
Well, and there's that balance between knowing they have a safety net of support and love, but also gifting them the skills or the ability to recognize they have their own skills in incremental amounts building up to that. And so one of the things that I've done with my kids is when they were 5 and 6, they were making their own dinner. And people were appalled by the fact that we let them use a knife to cut lettuce. They were, oh my gosh, I can't believe that you make your kids make dinner. And at that time, I was like, Monday night, they make bacon salad. They called it bacon salad. We might call it Caesar salad. They called it bacon salad. They could put the rice into the pot and turn on the pot. They could blend up all the ingredients for all of the dressing in the magic bullet. And they could cut the lettuce with a not too sharp knife, but sharper than most of their friends would ever touch. And they would complain about it endlessly of, oh, Monday night, oh, we have to make dinner, until there came a point where they were proud of having made this dinner. And they'd invite friends over that night to enjoy the dinner. And then they would have their own friends that they would show how to make food. And they would be so excited to be able to show one of their friends that they could make food and that they could join them in making food. And it became an empowering process of like my kids puffing up their feathers, knowing that we trusted them to do this and that they now had this power in themselves to do it.
Yeah, it's so amazing. Growing up, my father told all of us, learn everything you need to learn while you're here, because when you're 18, you're out. So we actually thought when we were 18, we'd have to move out of the house, right? So we had to learn everything. We had to learn how to cook. We had to learn how to do our laundry. We had to learn how to make our beds. We had to learn everything, right? My mom would come into our room on a Saturday morning at 6 a.m. and wake us up with the vacuum cleaner And we would have to get up and clean. And God, when you're a teenager and you've been out on Friday night, 6 o'clock in the morning is like not what you want to be doing. And my mom didn't just clean the house. She just like, it was always spring cleaning on Saturdays. Like it was ripping the cushions off and like everything. It was always a big cleaning. But we learned, we learned. And when it came time and we didn't have to move out, well, it was fortunate for my dad that I actually ran away from home once before I was 18, because my sister still worked for my sister until she was 18 after that. But it was just, we had to learn how to look after ourselves, which at the time we hated it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you will meet resistance. There's no doubt.
Do our own laundry. And then I remember when I got a job, me and my sister both had a job when we were 14, and I got a job and I came home one day and there was no dinner plate for me at the dinner table. And I'm like, where's my food? And my dad said, what did you bring home? Did you get paid today? And I said, yeah. And he goes, what did you bring for dinner? I brought this. What did you bring? And I said, well, nothing. That's your job. And he said, do you want to eat? This is not a hotel. The next time you get paid, because he would see me go home and come home with bags of stuff for myself. Right. I would buy myself pants. I would buy myself stuff. Right. So I thought I was helping because my parents didn't have to buy my clothes. I could buy my own stuff. But my dad was like, what are you doing for the family?
Right. How are you contributing to this?
Right. So I said, okay, fine. And the next time I got paid, I called my mom from the bank. I was like, okay, I'm coming home. What do you need? And my mom didn't really need anything, I could tell, but she just didn't want to say nothing. So she said, pick up a pie. Right. And bring a pie home for dessert. So, my dad, it was very direct, you just wouldn't eat. So you had to start bringing stuff home and on your own. Like I'd have to just bring a loaf of bread home, not always call and ask. You live here, what's missing. Right. So it was always like, use your head.
Well, and the implied knowing and having to have forethought that comes because you have a responsibility. And that's different when you don't give a child a responsibility. They don't get to utilize that muscle to actually have to read between the lines of, oh, did I pull anything out for dinner? Or, oh, mom is working and dad is away, so I am going to have to step up and make dinner tonight. What am I going to make? And those things that my kids now do it's phenomenal. Hayden will say, oh, I saw there was nothing out for dinner, so I pulled out some meat from the freezer. And I'm like, oh my gosh, wow.
You did something right. That's so good, right?
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I really appreciate it. And at that moment, it is most important. The stop, look, and listen is important. But the next piece is mirroring it back and saying, I'm really proud of you for actually knowing that needed to happen and for having the forethought to pull out the meat. Like, I really appreciate the fact that you're thinking about all of us, because
it's right.
Noticed. Yeah, they're recognized for that.
They're recognizing, and it's so much better. Like women complain because their husbands don't do stuff. Sometimes some husbands don't do stuff around the house. And I remember when I was married, not now, but when I was married, I came home one day and my husband said, Ayse, I did the dishes for you. And I kind of stood there and I said, well, when are you going home? And he said, what do you mean? I go, well, clearly you're a guest here. Thank you for doing my dishes. When are you going home?
What was his response to that, Ayse?
He just was like, I thought I was doing something good. I said, for us, not for me. The dishes are not my job, right? So it's not for me. It's just, they need to be done. So you're a part of this. Then I even said to him, like, did your parents teach you nothing? Like, you have to do stuff and you're not doing it for me.
Well, and I think you mentioned that's really potent. The fact that it's for all of us, that we all have this equal respect and responsibility for one another, that I think in families these days, the adults or the parents take on such a huge role of responsibility that they forget that as the kids get older, it's really taking some burden off of them and adding, not burden, but adding the potential of trust on the kids to be able to help to be a part of this collective that helps each other. Like when you recognize that your kids have just as much to offer in this experience as you do, and they recognize that you recognize that too, that is profound.
Yep,
Profound.
absolutely. It's huge. Like when I think about it, when I grew up, I was like annoyed. But now, as an adult moving, when people don't know that, and you just
Mhm.
sit there and go like, did you grow up in a field? Like, how do you not know this stuff? Like, so what do you mean you can't do your own laundry? Huh?
Mm.
Like, so it's interesting because it's not that you're trying to pawn off work. It's just that it's like they just don't know. And I think that parents think they're doing their
Mhm.
kids a big favor by not giving them this responsibility. And it's really to their detriment. So I love that you're part of IAUSM, Jules. God, we could talk about this all day. So
We
I
could.
love that you are part of IAUSM. And what is it about IAUSM that you love? Like what really drew you to this?
Mm. Well, the best part of IAWSM were actually when I first talked with Ayse, it was how you connect with IAWSM. Not necessarily me or everybody yet, but it was at that point, it was early on, and it was how you connected with IAWSM. And that she was an entity unto herself. She was wanting to be co-created and obviously needed other facilitators to be able to help in her creation. But it wasn't something of an ego-driven mindset. It wasn't, I have to do this and this is my goal and these are my expectations of what this is supposed to look like. This is something that has birthed itself through us. And that's how I envision always a spirit kind of birthing itself through our material bodies, is we don't have control over it. We shouldn't try to reign control, but more than anything, honor the experience of what's happening and what we're being shown and led towards. So when you first described IAWSM as this beautiful space where people were going to be able to come and learn, facilitators were going to be able to be there and teach, and that the facilitators and the students were on equal level of being able to interact with one another, and that it was going to be this beautiful space of learning and growing and transformation without the ego, without the constant need for sales, without the all of the things that just bombard us all of the time. It was like a breath of fresh air. And I was like, wow, that is novel. That is a reality where I've not heard of before. That's new. That sounds like a fun experience and one that I would love to be a part of to see how it comes about. Because I've seen ideas and concepts as great, but to see them actually navigate themselves into this physical, tangible world and the paradigms that are already set up is is challenging in general. So I've seen it do all sorts of things. So I thought I would love to be a part of this experiment. There are many experiments in this human life that I'm not willing to be a part of. This one, yes, this sounds amazing. And I think if this launches the way that IAWSM wants to be launched, and if she can take form, even she already has in a way that she's coming to life, and I want to be a part of anchoring that new way of transforming this consciousness. And so that was what excited me most about this. And then obviously, since we've gotten into a little bit more, the connecting with other like-minded individuals who are excited to get this out into the world and connect and share, that, you know, being a part of that is magical and obviously inspiring and keeps energy moving.
Yes, it's amazing. It's an amazing, like she's awesome. She's awesome. And I still watch her change. Like I still watch the change from what I thought she was going to be to what she turned into, the issues that we've had with tech, and everything has shown why it showed up. She's like, no, that's not the way I want this to be. So we had issues with tech, and then we started to do a pre-launch, and then that didn't work because we got hacked. And she's like, no, because we have issues in the background that you didn't know about. So, and now we're moving ahead, and we tried to rebuild her, and she was like, that's not right either. And now we've got it going. And she is exactly turned into, like, once we get this, we're actually rebuilding a new site right now because it's grown so big. So the IAUSM that's there right now is active. However, there will be a changeover at some point of the site into the new site and this multi-site site, because we need to have more space for her to grow. And she's already outgrown where she is. So, the pants I've got her in right now, she's like, she's busting out. We got muffin top happening. So no, so we're just, so she's just guiding this the whole way. And what I really loved about it is usually when somebody starts a new business, they have a business plan, they have a structure, there's like a way of doing it. And I stepped right out of that because I think that's why it kind of chose me, because I'm very unconventional. So I was like, no, I'm not putting her in a box, not going to put baby in a box. So I'm not putting her in a box, and we'll see what's going to happen. And some of the people on my team that I had were not liking it. Ayse, it's very top down. You have no plan. And I was like, you don't want a plan. Right. So I just kept going, and people couldn't understand why I wasn't putting a structure on it, why I wasn't putting a plan on it. I knew what I wanted in the end, but I wanted to see, I knew what I wanted, but I didn't know what she wanted. Right. I didn't know what IAUSM, why she showed up in my world. What is it that she wants? So I would just kind of let her do her thing, like we're talking about for children. Right. I was there to make sure that she was safe. I gave her that space, but I also wanted to see what she could create.
And keep letting her grow.
And keep letting her grow. And now I have a much better idea of where she was going to be. And I'm so thankful that I never put her in a box, because she would not have been able to grow the way that she has.
Yes, and that power of being able to, just like a child, and I love it. It's like when people say they have a book and they say, oh, it's like a baby. They're like, oh no, it's not. It's a book. And then you write a book and you're like, oh right, it's got and that's the same thing with IAUSM, right? Like just saying, okay, I have enough of a framework and a container just so that you feel safe, so that you know that you've got something to lean into. But then as the as you said, muffin top, or as the flesh starts to push out through the fences, like, okay, we gotta make it bigger.
Yep. So that's the way it's been. So yeah, she's grown. She's grown, and she's going to continue to grow, but at least I know what I have to provide for her now so that she can grow. So that's really exciting. So definitely, please, everyone, come to the launch July 10th and 11th. It's free. We've got lots of speakers. It's going to be very interactive. You're going to be able to ask questions. We have lots of gifts. We're going to have an IAUSM loot bag. There's like lots of stuff that you are going to be able to take part in. And if you want to join IAUSM before the launch, like the actual, you want to come into the academy, right now we have a great deal going on, $99 for a year. And that's like free courses, free content. There are some deeper dive courses as well. Jasper just walked in. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but she just walked in. So there's a lot of stuff that you are going to have access to. We've got lots of groups. Unlike any other, like social media groups, so we have groups that the teachers will be leading themselves, so you can interact with them, and whatever it is that they want to guide you through or teach you, or challenges or whatever, that's all going to happen in there. So, and mostly everything is free unless you want to take a deeper dive course, like something that's more of a deeper course. But otherwise, every teacher is providing free content. Every teacher is doing courses or groups. We have a built-in community. So we're here to help you and support you and help you to be accountable and to bring motivation into your world. So please come in, find out everything you want to find out, learn, step into your self-mastery, unwind your wounds, and be a part of our community.
Yeah.
And thanks, Jules, for sharing.
Yes, thanks for having me, Ayse.
I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, bye guys.
Bye.